smiled at me across the boardroom table the day she stole my promotion. 3 years later, she was smiling at me again, this time, begging me not to press charges. This is the story of how a quiet accountant took down an entire company from the inside, one silent entry at a time. My name isn't important. Call me Maya, because that's close enough. For 6 years, I worked at a mid-sized logistics company called Harrow and Vance. I wasn't the loudest person in the office. I didn't fight for credit in meetings. I just did my job, accounting, reconciliations, quarterly reports, and I did it better than anyone else in that building. That's exactly why Renee hated me. Renee joined 2 years after I did. She was sharp, charming, and completely ruthless in a way that looked like ambition to everyone above her and looked like manipulation to everyone below her. She figured out early that the fastest way up wasn't hard work, it was proximity to power. So she attached herself to our VP, Daniel Cross, like a shadow. Lunches, after-work drinks, weekend strategy calls that were anything but strategy. When the senior financial analyst position opened up, I had the numbers. Renee had a relationship with the man making the decision. She got the job. I remember standing outside Daniel's office when he told me. He didn't even have the decency to be uncomfortable. He said, "We felt Renee brings a stronger leadership presence to client-facing work." I said, "Congratulations." I meant something else entirely. Here's what nobody in that office knew. Before I became an accountant, I spent 2 years training as a forensic auditor. I understood how money moved. I understood how money hid. And as Renee settled into her new office, my office, the one with the window, I started paying very close attention to how she worked. It didn't take long to notice the pattern. Every quarter, client entertainment expenses would balloon, then quietly get reclassified under a vague line item labeled business development, miscellaneous. The amounts were never big enough to trigger an automatic flag. But I knew what I was looking at. Daniel was skimming, and Renee was the one smoothing the paperwork so nobody asked questions. I didn't confront anyone. Complaints get buried by people with power. Instead, I did what I do best. I documented everything. For 11 months, I quietly built a private ledger. Dates, amounts, invoice numbers, cross-referenced against real client meeting records. I wasn't stealing anything. I wasn't hacking anything. I was simply doing my job on data I already had access to. I just wasn't sharing it. Yet. Meanwhile, Renee's honeymoon phase started cracking. She missed a major reporting deadline for the board. She misquoted a client contract that nearly cost the company a $2 million account. Each time, Daniel quietly cleaned it up for her, the same way she'd been cleaning up for him. The two of them were protecting each other. And I was the only person who could see the whole board. The opportunity came during the annual external audit. Routine audits only check what they're pointed toward. So I handed them a map, not through an anonymous tip, not through a dramatic confrontation. I simply included, in my standard quarterly reconciliation package, a fully accurate, fully sourced breakdown of the business development, miscellaneous account, going back 2 years, formatted exactly the way external auditors like their documentation. I didn't write a single accusatory word. I didn't need to. The numbers spoke a language auditors are trained to hear. 3 weeks later, the account was flagged for a deeper review. Then it wasn't just an audit anymore. It became a formal internal investigation. Daniel was placed on administrative leave within a month. Renee was called into HR 4 separate times. It turned out Renee hadn't just been covering paperwork. She'd personally approved reimbursements for expenses that never happened, funding what investigators delicately called personal travel. The company terminated Daniel's contract before the quarter ended. Renee wasn't fired outright, but she was demoted, stripped of her signing authority, and moved to a department with no visibility and no future. The senior financial analyst position reopened. This time, there was no competing candidate with a relationship to lean on, just a 6-year track record. I got the job. Properly. Publicly. With a unanimous recommendation from leadership. The last time I saw Renee, she stopped by my office, my old office, the one with the window, to ask, quietly, whether I had anything to do with the audit findings. I told her the truth. I never touched a single number that wasn't already mine to report. I never lied. I never broke a single rule. I just stopped protecting people who never once protected me. She didn't say anything else. She just nodded and walked out. Karma doesn't always come with thunder and lightning. Sometimes it comes quietly, formatted in 12-point font, waiting patiently for the one moment someone finally decides to look. Subscribe to Baba Revenge Stories for a new story every